Auto Services Limited, number 1 Industrial Lane, Champlain. We do it all. The ruler of the mid-morning, Sir Charles, on the New Era TT Radio, Nett Radio.
I remember when you children were weak and hungry. I took you to my bosom, fed you my oil. And even when you took and wasted and left me drained, there was always love for you in my soil. Even when my older children, they tried to shame me, setting no rules for the younger ones, bringing such grief and sadness into my household. In the end, they're still my daughters and sons. I will always be there for you. No matter what you do, whatever joy or pain that you are going through, I will always be there for you. I will be always there for you.
All right, everybody, and of course, good morning to you once again as we welcome you to On the Inside with Steve Williams. Yeah, courtesy of the Foundation for Human Development. They lend Steve to us on Wednesday. All right, so Steve, how are you doing? Welcome.
Oh, Loss, I'm doing fine. Thank God for that, I was sitting there chatting with someone just now, and they were just sharing their bad medical news to me, And you ever get slightly kind of depressed?
Of course.
Because
I go there almost every day sometimes.
You say to yourself, oh my God, but what has she done to deserve this, this kind of surgery and possible chemo and a whole series of, and I looking at her life moving forward, young woman, 40-something years, and I'm saying, my God, what? Anyway, I went through that little bit and I got my notes together.
Yeah, life happens, Steve.
And I say, let's let the world move on, in a sense. But I understand how life is not a straight bed of roses for anyone. And I've discovered more and more. I'm going to talk about that today more than anything else. How we live in this world of illusion, sometimes hypocrisy, and we don't know what reality is anymore. We really don't know. We have been deceived in a big way by so many things, and when I listen to people and their conversations and the lens through which they see the world, I understand how that lens has been clouded by so many things. So today I want to talk about the clouding of that lens, about how in fact we don't really, and when we have serious discussions and even serious arguments sometimes, or we coming from positions and perspectives that are very much controlled by other people and clouded by other people. So I want to talk about that because we need to get back to a little sense of reality today.
Right. But that is good, because I feel we really need to get that reality touch. I am just kind of looking at how, while some people are willing to get that, there are some people are very comfortable with everything going to.
I know that, and I don't get back to them because that's what you know. Mm-hmm. That's all you know. For a lot of people, it's all you know. For people who have been born, like my grandchild, who've been born into the social media age, who've been born into the technology age of having an iPad everywhere you go. You sit down in the car and you're on the iPad, you're a 3-year-old, a 5-year-old, and so on. There's no other reality for them. I grew up with Hans Andersen fairy tales and Cinderella and all these things, and people telling me stories. But I knew, in fact, they were stories. And although as a child you sometimes had a vivid imagination about those stories, the fact remains that as you grew older, you knew it was a story. And reality was different from the story. I'm saying that we don't know the difference now.
Right.
We can't tell the difference at all. And it's because it's a very well orchestrated world in which, and I'll share that the first area that we are into in this orchestrated world is distraction, where we are literally living now distracted from ourselves, from our values, from each other, and from universal truth. We are. Sometimes it's amazing how everybody is so distracted that we can't even tell now when something is happening around us. Take, for example, a little simple thing. The blowing off of the roofs in Westmoreland, okay? All right. Now, I got maybe hundreds of videos and messages all in the space of about half an hour. Every single human being in Trinidad seem to have been tuned into this phenomenon of some roofs being blown off of houses. Distressing it must be to the owners. But the fact remains that it was a huge, whatever you were doing, whether you were in an office, whether you were playing football, whether you were reading a book, whether you were actually doing your work, you were distracted immediately. And distracted to the point where you now must send these photos on, because you're not holding this for yourself. So you're sending it on. So people abroad sending me and saying, Steve, what's happening? Because my sister lives in Westmoreland. So you can imagine the kind of a way things were going. And I'm saying, what a huge form of distraction. Not that it's not news that we need to have information about. But you see, when we live it, I'm talking about we live it. We live in it. Therefore, we lose touch. So endless scrolling through the social media instead of meaningful conversation is where we are now. So we no longer have meaningful conversation. We have endless scrolling and endless reels and endless sending and endless people post all kinds of things, whether they foot hoot them, they think about this, they think about that, they get political, whatever it is, they have a story to tell. Endless posting and scrolling. That's where we are. That's reality today. There's nothing else for some people. Okay, there's a constant busyness of people, so that there is no pause. Sometimes I ask people to pause. I say, come, let's pause. Come to a day of silence without devices and phones and so on. And you mad? Without my phone for an hour, 2 hours? Impossible. So that we have arrived at that. We also have entertainment. I'm not going into a gray area here because I could get a lot of licks for it. But a lot of entertainment nourishes the soul. But there's a lot of entertainment that numbs the soul. And sometimes we find ourselves, some people, hooked on the entertainment that numbs the soul. And the soul, I'm talking about the very being that you are. And so sometimes when we dwell in these areas and we live in these places, when we live around our devices and so on every single hour, it doesn't leave our hand. We go to the bathroom. Somebody's telling me they don't even bathe without it. They have it on a shelf next door to the bathroom and so on. What is wrong with us? What is wrong with us? We become so dependent, so hooked into this kind of illusion, which is not reality, but it might be reality for you because that's all you're aware of. What is wrong with us? The second strategy or area that really takes us away from meaningful being, and I want to use the word being, is confusion. And this happens because truth is impossible now to discern. We are given deliberately contradictory information. I don't think anybody knows the truth about anything. It's amazing. From the time somebody opens it is your truth, is my truth, is his truth, is her truth, and then there's the truth. We don't know. So we have reached a point of living in what I consider pure confusion. We don't know. The information is so contradictory. You take a simple thing like Tylenol. Take Tylenol, and you have one head of the world standing up and saying, please don't even go into that because X will happen. And then you have all the medical doctors lining up and saying, that's poor information. It's based on bad results. It's based on poor reports and poor studies and so on. What do you believe? Nobody knows what to believe. Nobody can say with any certainty, Tylenol is okay. Nobody, because half is saying something else and the other half is saying something else. So we're living now with overwhelming floods of conflicting expert opinions on every topic. And no two experts agree. So we find ourselves confused. I am confused. I am 70 years old and I depend on medication because I've had medical issues. I am confused about the medical information. I'm confused about the supplements. One person says, take this for the cholesterol, it does that. This is, you take that, it does that to your body. I am confused. I'm tentative. I don't know. And you have 3 doctors in the same department saying, each of them telling you something different about your own condition. Confusion. When we live with that, the only result can be anxiety, distrusting, because we don't trust. Talk about reframing the society and building the society. You can't build without trust. You can build nothing without trust. If I don't trust my parents growing up, what can I build? So if our leadership is not trustworthy, then in fact, how can we to bring our insides and our energy to say, yes, I'm committed to this? We can't. We can't. So we live in confusion. Confusion about theories and experts, and we don't even know what to think anymore, some of us. And some of us are so clear, we choose a side. Oh yes, we make sure that we take a particular expert opinion and we run it with that. Fine. Because we all grasping for a certain amount of certainty, you see. Then you have division. And now, much more than before it happened, but much more, families are turning against each other. I'm not saying it never happened before, it happened a lot before. Communities are split along bitter lines, and churches, politics, everything is divided. So we live with division. And I because I do a lot of therapy, I spend a lot of my time with people who are brutally divided one home. What they divided over, God alone knows sometimes, and they themselves don't understand sometimes. But there's a brutal division deep inside. They can't discuss, their family members, they can't discuss anything without fighting, As soon as the discussion begins, it turns into a way of hurting each other. You this, you that, you other. 10 years ago, remember, 3 years ago, 6 months ago, you did this and I told you, and now you come back. So there's no sense of bringing together things, and people are getting comfortable in their prospective positions, And of course, as I said earlier before, they get comfortable with their own truths because they never think that there can be another truth to their own. It doesn't dawn on them. You see, this may not be all there is to this. There may be other issues involved. No, it's my truth or no truth. Keeping the vision solidified. And then, of course, there's a big one, fear. Now, we are all sometimes, I think, all we're doing is living in survival mode. There's a chronic anxiety that keeps us there sometimes. We make a lot of decisions based on fear. We don't get a sense that things are going to be okay. And of course, the ultimate fear is the fear of death. The second ultimate fear is the fear of losing everything that you've worked hard for. So we live like that in a society built with a lot of crime and so on. We are afraid of losing not just what we worked for, but we're afraid of losing who we've been close to. So we live in fear, and fear brings on anxiety. And for some people, chronic anxieties. To me, when I look around, the most popular business now is a pharmacy business. Why is it popular? Because everybody's on some kind of medication or supplement. If you're not in vitamin D and vitamin E and vitamin B12, and this and that, doctors tell you this and that. Everybody's now into natural herbs and so on, trying to deal with all kinds of anxious and chronic situations in their own lives. And people are getting sick and sicker because, again, we're eating unhealthy things right across the board. And we have to, because we have to move fast and we have to achieve. And as one person saying, well, I have to do well, And one person saying, well, I have to get a promotion. I work until 8, I work until 9 in the night, So you pick up a little fried food on the weekend, and you pick up a little thing packed with old oil and so on, and things not good for your heart, not good for any parts of your organs and so on, but you have to fill a hole because you're hungry, We don't sit and eat, and converse, we eat in the car, we eat on the road, we eat everywhere. There's nothing more to humanity being, engaging with one another. Even when we have parties and so on, it's just a lot about dumbing ourselves with the music and then the loudness and then the alcohol, which makes us talk us at the foolishness most of the time. So we abandon our values. And relationships where where love dominated the relationship, fear dominates the relationship now. We don't trust people. Will she be staying with me? Will he be staying with me? Must he have somebody else? She must have somebody else. Oh, it's just one vicious drama circle fear that happens to us over and over and over again. And we live with that. So the battle now, I think, is for our hearts and our minds. And the truth be told, I think we've lost the battle. I don't want to be sounding so pessimistic to some extent, but truth be told, I think we have not really spent enough time slowing the process down, looking within ourselves, beginning to engage people meaningfully in the way that we are. I think we've lost the battle, more or less. But there are ways in which we can recuperate, we can stop. And I think COVID was meant to do that, strange enough. I think when that came up, I think it was meant to say, let's talk now. Let's sit with each other. Let's pray with each other. let's have more time now, because we are not as busy as we were before, to begin to look deeply within. Nobody looks deeply within. It's an amazing thing that we all have all these theories. Something happens, we run to YouTube, we go to AI, and we solve the problem from knowledge base. Okay? Because all these are knowledge based forms of information coming to us. They have nothing to do with you personally. You have grown up differently. You've grown up in a different context, environment, a different everything. But yet, even in your growing up, you are different. We're all different individuals, all of us. And we think that the information that we read when you go to AI and so on, it automatically applies to you. It applies, but not in the way that it should, because you're different. You have different feelings, different culture, different background, different ways of dealing with it. Your body has grown differently over time. So, how do we do this? Well, against distraction, we have to begin every day, or most days, or some days, with a little 10 minutes of silence. I know I may be asking for too much, because from the time you get up off the bed, your hand goes for your phone. Long ago, it used to go to some something or some book or something, and you spend a little 5 minutes in prayer. Now it just goes straight to the phone. And you pick it up and you begin your scrolling. You have to see who WhatsApped you last night, what's on Instagram, what's on Facebook, what was the latest of all that. And you go there. And sometimes you stay there during breakfast. Sometimes you stay there right until you reach to work. So you have to change that, allow our mindset not to be cultivated and conditioned in a certain way. We have to start with 10 minutes of just silence. Just silence. We need some time to create phone-free zones in our homes. Some people are beginning to see how important that is. If there is a Sunday that you have, and most people are home on the Sunday, or you have a Saturday, or whatever it is, you need the time to say, well, okay, between 8 and 10 on Sunday morning, or between 10 and 12, or maybe after lunch between 12 and 2, there are no phones. Please. About something, tell me what's happening with your day, what's going on with your week, what your plans are, what your intentions are. We need to do that. And when we do that, we would lessen the control of distraction in our lives, because that's what we have to learn to do. And be extremely distracted. So part of your role now as a parent, it wasn't so before. They tell you to watch TV, maybe TV, or they play football outside or so on, but they come in and so on. And I met a parent there, and she does a wonderful thing, and I was so happy for her. She says, I read to my children every night. They're 5 and 6 and so on. I say, oh my God, it is not so wonderful. I read to them, and they enjoy that contact time. Isn't that fantastic? So I'm feeling that we have to find those sometime. I'm not saying long time now, because long time was bad enough. I'm saying we have to find traditional ways in which we can engage the human being into a sense of humanity. Okay? Very important. We have to learn the different strategies and techniques that they have out there for anxiety, the yoga, the meditation, the different things, and we have to do a dedicated hour every week to something that slows us down and brings us more into ourselves. We have to find that. We have to make it work for us. Okay, we have to understand how to deal with conflict without actually thinking that my truth is the only truth. We have to learn that this conflict is necessary it is a must in the way we move forward, but it's not to for us to polarize us into different areas so that we no longer want to talk with each other on these things. I'll pause. Oh, 11:27. Let me pause here because I could just talk for hours on this. But let me pause and maybe ask if anybody would like to make a
Yeah,
contribution.
that is good. So people, if you would like to get in on the conversation, we welcome you, of course. 281-1315 or 299-5156. We got two numbers you can call us. You can regular call us or you can WhatsApp call us on any one of those two numbers, right? So we talk with Steve Williams, courtesy of the Foundation for Human Development. Yeah. So Steve, while we wait on any course, anything else that you would like to elaborate on in between there, you can go ahead,
Well, I was just looking at methods,
Mm-hmm.
Ways in which we can begin to change the direction in which we have all been trapped and conditioned. I feel it sometimes, especially in conversations with people. So one of the ways we need to look at is the question of how we can remove the fear that we live with. I think that's a very difficult thing because we are conditioned into fear. Remember, everything that comes at us tells us we're not enough. So that creates the fear. Okay? There isn't an ad that tells you you are good as you are. It tells you your shoe, you need a better shoe, you need a better TV, you need a bigger one, you need a better phone. Everything that you have is not enough. Everything that you are is not enough. So we are all conditioned into the anxiety that we are living, in a sense, the olden days. We are living in backward time because we don't have the most modern. You have the iPhone 20 and the iPhone 822 and whatever the story might be. We don't have it, and we don't have it that we're not with it. It's an illusion. It's an illusion of people making money.
I think basically where we have been and will probably continue to get a lot of fallout and where the thing has changed is, you see, when a generation, for example, let's say a generation before, may not have taken seriously changes that were happening and pass it by as nothing. It's like, oh, yeah, you have a little leak in the roof and there's only one leak and you don't take care of it and eventually you have to change the whole roof.
Yes.
So, and when it skips generations going down the road, it becomes what was important to that generation is not important to 2 or 3 generations up the road. And they are not interested in that, and they now come with their own value system that they are living into, and they can justify for you why they don't need to be that kind of way anymore, because that is outdated, that is old time, that is my grandparents thinking, that is not we.
Yes.
I'm seeing that as being a big problem in resolving some issues that we may have been able to resolve easier in time gone by. But I have a caller coming in.
Sure.
Caller, good morning to you.
A blessed good morning to you again, Sir Charles, and to Mr. Williams. Good morning to you, sir. I believe in society is what we grew up in the household. Because I remember a long time and now it's two different things. Long time, if you see your neighbor have something, you can't want it. Your parents used to say, hey, no. In society now, everything they see, I have to have that. You don't have to have it.
That's right.
What programs in your mind before? If you notice, long time, we make what we have do. You understand? We make what we have do. You see a neighbor has something, you don't watch and say, I have to have that. No, because when you grow up, you come like, you see a pencil, you take it. Once you come home in the house with it, your parents just say, hey, what's going on? Where you get that from? Carry right back.
Right.
But nowadays in society now, some as we say, some children, they bring home stuff. Where you get that from? And some of the parents just do cater, they do business.
Yeah.
But for me, the tradition of long time is not there. The wanting of you see something, you have to have it. You don't have to have it. You have a phone already, it working, but you want a better phone. No, use what you have. Where you can't reach
Yep.
sometimes.
Yep.
But as great program as usual, I'm listening on, and if anything, interject again, how there's popping and go.
Okay, great. Thanks for popping in.
Mhm.
A very interesting point that she raised there, and it's something that we always go to, you know. So you would have seen the child, and that is what we're talking about: the generation shift and the skipping of the generations. And people were still taking your calls. So whereas one generation would have said to a child, "Where you get that from?" There are generations now. Things are coming in the house that parents don't even know that in the house. You understand? Because they're not as vigilant as parents
That's so
before. That is not
true.
important to
They
them.
have no time. They have no
You
time.
know, my child is a privacy, and there's a space, and
Mhm.
you know, in another place. No, no, they're not in my house. You know.
Mhm. Mhm.
Caller, good morning to you. Oh, I think I lost my caller, man. All right, I went another one. Good morning, Junior.
Good morning again, Sir Charles. Unpleasant good morning, Mr. Steve.
Good morning.
Yes. Interesting conversation. Sir Charles, as the last caller, and Susan is her name,
Yeah.
she would have been up there right now. I understand what she's saying, but here what I want to say, and I not entirely true because long time. When the neighbor pull up with them thing, it depends on the individual. You see the pressure because a neighbor brings something new. A long time you try to go and get something new in the house. So again, this the area that you grow because it had a lot of competing long time.
Yes.
It wasn't prevalent as now.
Yeah. Yeah, but it was
Right?
happening. It was happening.
It was yes, it was happening. Right? A long time. Now I fortunate such as Mr. Steve, we are fortunate to so I'm fortunate to live in the area where things wasn't as this aggressive, right? So a long time, people were more simple in the sense it wasn't a kind of it wasn't like now is a status to have certain things, right? A long time, people care about more values. Again, we're talking about values. We're spending time with families, right? Where you would sit down and you would watch a movie, or you would have games night, or you even have little parties where the family hang out and everybody interact. You had conversation. Now, in a trade-off now, right? Because now we had the inclusion of tech technology that's supposed to make life easier. And Mr. Steve, I guilty with this phone thing, but I'm trying to shake off this demand. I don't call it a demand.
I
Because
like your word.
no. It is a it's well for the techie people. I know as it is a demand because as Mr. Steve rightfully said, Mr. Steve has a gear. Yeah, it's like the first thing that you're running for is your phone, right? Now I just fool myself because I had the Bible app now and tell myself I will go into the Bible app and then you end up in all different kind of looking all kind of WhatsApp because it's
Fool
all
yourself. That's right. Mhm.
yeah. So but what I'm saying and I like this and I love this conversation. And I wish that more people could engage the conversation because what you are saying is so true. So I find myself now, Mr. Steve, because I don't know, I was telling somebody just Monday, I was telling somebody life now seems to be like it's more intense. Like like you are more, there's a scripture in the Bible says that I will shorten the days, right? And not necessarily like the day shorten, but there is so much to do now that you feel that the day is so short because your time. But one of the things for me, and I big on it, and I'm trying to do it now, is to manage my time. So as you say, right? It have times that I am trying to manage food. Unfortunately for me, part of my job is to be around my phone, right? Because somebody always always trying to call you or always trying to reach you or I always trying to reach somebody. But for me now, I just say, right, is to put it down, right, and go and do something. As I say, spend time with yourself, right? You shut down everything. Yes, everything important. Everything is important. But I think you had to learn to shut down, as you rightfully say, right? And go and do something. Spend a little quieter moment with yourself and for yourself because I think you need it, right? For your peace of mind too. Right? Even how the phone and the algorithm, how this whole thing is designed. So for those who, well, I wanna say this, I'm demon. How these things are designed, right? This thing is designed to take away your time. If
it is,
you manage it, because even when you look at somebody creators of the popular app, right? They say with their own mouth they don't always have the phone around them. So I mean, like when you go out right now, everybody on their phone, which when you're supposed to be interacting, right? So we have lost the art of learning to communicate or learning to function without the phone because the phone has now become a part of our life that you need it in some way or some form. But again, I would like to encourage, and for me, Mr. Steve, as I say, I mean, I don't know, my time is important, and again, as the transition for different people, you may be in different space, different places in your life, and you make time for that rest period away from everything, right? It has times and all. I just walk off Nett because you know what? I don't want to much peace. So, I go.
All right, okay, no problem. Yeah, no,
Excellent.
you have to be able to do that. You have to be able to manage your time. I don't believe that the makers of these apps and the technology is really interested in taking your time. I think they want your time. They just want it in a particular space. They want you to spend more time on your phones and those things. And you find that what maybe not in this generation, what we considered the outdoor life and thing and going out and doing other things, go out and get some sun and exercise. You are coming with a generation that may not see that as important now. And it may skip a couple of generations, and then you know what? It's going to become a fad again to come back outside because when you realize, yes, more people getting sick because of this. People are having problems with their eyes. All these different things. When those things start to happen, then people may probably come back to realize that, you know what? I need to really rest down. I need to take a little walk and take a little sun 2 hours a day or something. So it may come full circle. Caller, good morning, Keith.
Morning, good morning, Steve.
Morning, Cassie.
Morning, Cassie.
Yeah, and well, I don't know what the overall theme is because I was out, and I just came back in time to hear. Is it Dean or Junior? I don't know.
Junior.
Who was just speaking there about the use or misuse of the phone, and that caught my interest because I was just talking to someone who will turn 80 on Sunday, and the fact that they are all always in front of the television and that kind of thing. So, I'm trying to, the best way I could, to show them that they need to take a little few minutes for themselves because you can't take the television with you. And as was right, you said a while ago there, the telephone is designed to waste your time. It just so happened that this weekend going there, I made a decision that I would not be using my telephone from Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Yeah, up till last night. Well, up to this morning actually. So I just for I think it was Saturday midnight or Sunday morning or something like that. Back up the phone and continue to live. And here, man, it was the most delightful 3 days, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, that I have spent for a while.
Yes.
Something to tell.
No. Wait. I'm actually listening to you and trying to imagine myself doing that.
Not you, not researcher. No, you're too busy. Not you. But I'll just share, and I'm going to. Is there someone else on the line, or just share very briefly?
No, that is it. Cassie, thanks so much.
Yeah. I have the responsibility for planning our workshops and programs. And you know how I have found a way, how somebody taught me how to do this? Her name is Sarah Beckett, very famous artist in Trinidad and Tobago. And she is part of the foundation. And you know how we plan for her workshop? I'll tell you. She says, Steve, you'll come by me for about 8 o'clock in the morning, and we're going to have breakfast. She prepares it's not a big breakfast, a little scrambled eggs and some toast and coffee or tea or whatever. But in the background, there's this beautiful classical music being played. We don't allow phones. We sit and we start our conversation about life. Nothing about workshop. Life. And sometimes it's her life, sometimes it's my life. So we are beginning the process of engaging with each other. Then we broaden that conversation to life in the world, life in Trinidad, life in England. She's originally from England. We broaden the conversation. And out of that conversation would then come an idea of how we can actually plan a workshop for the next year or next 2 months or whatever the case may be. And I have found that method extremely positive. There are no distractions. There are no phone people trying to get some information or do something quickly. There is gentle music, classical music in the background, just soothing you into conversation. There is direct connection, human connection, and deep connection with each other. And out of that emerges something very positive and very fruitful. And I think that's what I call the human way of doing things. It's also the slowing down way. It's not like picking up the phone. Let's have it on video call and so on and so on. While something is going on, somebody calling you, say, give me a minute, I'm coming now. No. I think if we learn to do that a little bit more, just proposing that as a method, even the way we do things, even the way family plans certain things, you're planning a little vacation for the family, you're planning something, you sit together, you have a little meal together, maybe it might just be a cup of tea together, or in some cases a nice cold beer, and you begin the process of engaging with each other. That's what I want to recommend.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. I think that's a good way for us to leave it this morning. Steve, I want to thank you as always for sharing your time and the messages that come out of the program. So thank you so much. Tell people how to get in contact with you.
You're always welcome. Well, we are physically located in Cascade, 36 Cascade Road, Cascade. obliquely opposite the School for the Deaf. Then we can be found there, or contact via email is foundationhd@gmail.com, and we can be contacted on WhatsApp for 826500.
Okay. Well, Steve, take care. Enjoy your day. Enjoy your week. And God's willing, we will join you again next Wednesday.
Yeah, sure. God's willing. Take care.
All right. People, this has been On the Inside with Steve Williams.
And left me drained. There was always love for you in my soul. Even when my older children, they tried to shame me, setting no rules for the younger ones, bringing such grief and sadness into my household. In the end, they're still my daughters and sons. I will always be there for you. No matter what you do, whatever joy or pain that you are going through, I will always be there for you. I will be always there for you.